So let's just talk about death and the reality that we all face it. There is no escape, there is no other conclusion, there is no anything. We are going to die. And the consequence of that is we need to understand, what it is we're going to die to or what we're going to die from, things like that. And the reality of that is only truth will decide. It doesn't matter what you believe. It really doesn't. It doesn't matter what you think. It doesn't matter what you want. Nothing matters but what is true. Truth will decide. Every truth has a consequence. Every truth is a reality that you cannot escape. Every decision that you make identifies who you are and what you want and what you're willing to pay for and what your life is going to be. Or more correctly, your truth is your identity, and that will become your eternity. Whether it is good or bad is up to you. Whether it's love or hate is up to you. Whether it's, in between, which is cast aside as the chaff, so-called. The part that grew up to create the seed, but you are the seed. And want is just chaff, so to speak. So we want to identify the difference between want and truth. And what you want is what you want. And what you don't want is what you don't want. And both of those lead you to lies. Because if you don't want something, or if you do want something that you would not otherwise get, that's when you lie. So want is about lies and liars and how to steal from somebody else what they have so that you can have it instead. So you have to be aware of your truth, what your truth says about you, and what your truth will prove about you. When we die, we enter into our own environment of truth, what we created as our identity. And that actually goes to a spiritual world, or the transition between time and eternity is called a spiritual world. That's what it's called, and it is to create for you what is your actual truth, because it removes from you every lie that you depend upon, every want that you depend upon, every belief that you depend upon. Whatever it is that is not true in you will be removed, so that only what is true can remain. And that's just how truth is. Truth survives, everything else dies. So only truth matters, and what you believe doesn't matter, because what you believe is based upon want. Every religion is based upon want. And, you can argue that or not argue that. It doesn't matter to me. I'm not a believer. I believe in truth. And truth is going to decide what is going to happen. And that's the end of it. There is no, alternative belief to that. It's just truth. So what is truth? And the answer to that is reality will prove by the evidence what cannot be refused, or what the law of this is. So, it's not a law of men, which changes from time to time and just is based upon what they want or what they believe. It is true what is true. And so you need to understand that don't believe, don't join the herd, think. Because thinking is the difference between human and animal. So an understanding of what the future might be by the consequences that truth provide. We can argue about whether there is an eternity or not, but I can tell you without question that evolution, the claim that university, the religion of university, and the claim that they can be God because they can inject chaos into nature and chaos into life and chaos into energy and chaos into everything, because that's what the religion says. Chaos is God. So they're just following their God and doing what they want to do. But chaos didn't build a thing. You should know that without any question. Chaos simply reduces, just like fire, it reduces what is complex down to its most simple form. And that is not your human life. even if you think it is not your human life. You are a very complex reality. That is, your bones build themselves, they grow themselves, they align themselves, they tie together, they lubricate themselves. The muscles act and react upon them, and everything involved in a body of life is very complex. You know that for a fact. So we don't have to argue about whether or not evolution is right or wrong. It's just plain wrong. It's just the biggest lie, or one of the biggest lies humanity has ever produced. And of course, the ones who produce it are the university, and that makes them the liar. And we ask why. And it's because they want to play God. But then that's what hate always does. And that doesn't mean the whole university is hate. It just means that the university cannot be trusted to lead you, as is the evidence of all the threats that surround us. The university has been in charge of U.S. Accounting and the creation of money and what have you since Reagan, who needed an answer because he didn't have one. And so the universities gave him one. Sell all the gold in Fort Knox, and that will solve it. And in reward for that, they gave him control of the money, and so the money, they gave themselves $1 million raise, and then the people said, "There's the money, we'll go get it." And here we are, where they left us, in the sewer. But nonetheless, we're talking about death, and we're talking about, why are we here? Because that's part of death. Why are we here if we are a creation of life, which we certainly are? We are, a creation of body, which is time, and we are a creation of life, which is thought. Thought is a very, very important reality of your truth. What you think becomes the environment in which you live. So we need you to think about what life means to you. What does life mean to you? And a part of that is hope, because without hope, you're going to end up with suicide or depression or any of the mental health problems that exist. We must have hope. Hope is actually the little companion that stays with you. Hope is what helps you survive life. Hope is very, very important, and you must accept the idea that you can't control what the others do. You can't control what the others believe. You can't control anything but what you do. And of course, what you do makes the identity of who you are. So what you do, it's not only thought, but it's actually what you do or did not do. So you have to decide what is important to you. And it's not the claim of just one thing, as universities and even religion does. It is a case of what is true for you. And that involves everything, not just one thing. So, what is important? And of course, what is important to me is that life and the world should survive. That's what I spent my entire life on. Life and this world should survive. And to do that, we need redress to identify what is true, so that we can make an actual, honest, real decision about life and truth and reality and future and those who depend upon us for the future and everything else. We have to know what is true. And if you don't know what is true, then you make decisions based upon what you believe. And belief, of course, is where you hide and want. And of course, you can't hide and confront truth at the same time. I was, back in the 20s, I was in my 20s, I was confronted by what were nightmares for a week. And those are, an enemy is in the house kind of thing. And so after 4 or 5 days of it, couldn't escape it. I decided, well, we're going to have to try to deal with it. We're going to have to confront it. We're just going to have to stay up at night and make sure that I'm not attacked anymore. And the reality of that is, or it led me to, now I have the opportunity to think beyond actions or reactions, because we spend life working, and when we're working all the time, we don't have an opportunity to think beyond that for ourselves. But I found, and I was having trouble with that, too much work and so on. But I found that you didn't have to, if you didn't sleep your whole night away, just whenever your body decided to wake up and start dreaming for you, you can wake up a little bit more. And then you can identify or search for what is or is not true in you in that time. So the little nightmares for 3 or 4 days or 5 or whatever it was proved to be what I needed to do to get to the next stage of my life, which is an opportunity to think for myself rather than just act or react as living required of me at the time. And what is important is important lessons are never judge, because if you judge anything, whether you're young or you're old, it doesn't matter. If you judge something, that means you're declaring it has a value to you that is your choice. And you don't have a choice about someone else's life or the world or anything else. And when you make a choice, you always end up with either they're less than you or more than you. And if they're less than you, you end up calling them the trash. And if something or someone is the trash to you, then you can do with it whatever you want, because nobody cares about the trash. So you can do whatever you want. Use whatever. Violence, murder, whatever it is. You judge someone. So never do that. Don't judge. If the law won't do it, let it go. And in reality, it taught me that if you followed something down the path to what is bad for you, then you're choosing to go down the path that is bad for you. So stop. And a wife for 2 years proved to me that you can't simply let yourself be guided into things that you don't want, even if they want them. She wanted a normal life, but I'm not really the normal kind of guy. I am, but I'm not. It's just differences of desire. So anyway, you have to stand up for yourself. It's important. You got to be you, because you can't be somebody else. You have to be you. That's part of being true. So if you're going to be true to yourself, you have to be true to the journey that you're on. And of course, my journey was different than hers. She wanted to be normal, and I did not. Or more correctly, I found that weapons of mass destruction and all the things that humanity was doing was bad, and I wanted to change that. And of course, I did not change that throughout these years or decades. But that is, it's not necessarily my fault. I did the best I could, and we all, if we do the best we can, even if it's poor, it doesn't matter. We did the best we could. That is our truth. That is your truth. It doesn't matter what the end result is. I did what I could do. And that, of course, is your decision as well. So do what you can do. Accept the cost that everybody else has their own life too. You can't decide for someone else. There's a lot of people who want to decide for other people, and of course, dating is a part of that. People decide that you're the one I need, therefore you're the one I'm going to take or get or manipulate or whatever it is. But that doesn't work, because it's you have to be on the same journey to travel the same way. So you just have to do it, and you have to let others accept their choice too. So you can't manipulate somebody, you can't tempt somebody, you can't do anything that requires someone else to make a decision that you want to make rather than a decision that they want to make. You have to have some patience for them to make that decision on their own, so that it is a real decision, so that your actual actions and reactions will be honest, and so that the life that you choose will be the life that you live, or the life that we live. So when it comes down to it, death is about what is going to be true, and our eternity is about whether or not you fit into the love that creation wants, because loneliness does affect our lives. So living with someone, being happy with someone, is a fact of our existence if we choose that.